Welcome to Elevate Massage Heights Podcast. This is Shane Evans, co-founder and CEO. I'm happy to announce today that I've got Edin Demirov on the show. Edin is the area lead massage therapist for John Weathers in the DFW market. John is a multi-unit franchisee. Edin, again, is a lead massage therapist. He's been with us for over 5 years now, and we're looking forward to hearing all about his tenure with Massage Heights, what brought him into massage therapy, and what inspires him each and every day. How do you inspire the people that report to you? Because you've got lots of therapists that report to you. How do you inspire them to keep that passion ignited?
I'll actually throw them like curveballs when it comes to how to work on people.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I think is very simple, but a lot of therapists don't utilize is like sideline position. So like when you have a client on their side and like, they'll be like, I can't tackle this problem. I don't know what to do. I've been working on this person. They've been coming in for 4 months and I'm just not getting the results that I want. I'm like, well, did you try this? And I'll show them a different way to do something. And they just like clicks in their brain. And I mean, something as simple as that can like make them be like, I should have thought about the solution a different way. I mean, what do they say? Definition of insanity, right? Is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I'm like, you just have to remind them like, there's many different ways to tackle problems in massage. And usually I'll throw them in sideline and be like, do it this way, or how does it feel? I'll usually use them as a model. I'm like, okay, this is the pressure that I'm using to tackle it this way. Okay, I'm putting you in this position, going a different angle. Do you feel a difference? And they're like, oh yeah, I feel a big difference.
Yeah.
So
really just you feel like the inspiration comes from learning new things and just having some different modalities. And...
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, John always says, if you're not growing, you're dying. So I mean, you have to find, especially nowadays with consumers being not just like tech savvy, but information savvy about things, like you have to always be on your game all the time. You have to, I wouldn't say convince your clients to continue to come and see you, but...
you got to win their business, right?
Yeah, you got to win their business. You have to, if they come in with a different problem and, you try things a couple times, it's okay to fail. Like, I think a lot of therapists feel like, well, I'm not the right person for them because this one time I worked on them. Like, it's okay to fail. Like, that's how you learn and evolve as a human being. Like, if we all did everything right the first time, we would never learn anything. So it's okay to make mistakes and just talk to people and be like, hey, I tried this. Let me know next time you come in what it felt like. Write it on the soap note so that you remind yourself to ask that person, like, hey, they said they had knee pain. Okay, I tried working on blah, blah, blah muscles in that area, and then I'm going to ask them how they feel next time. And some clients are like, oh, yeah, I felt 100% better. Some will be like, a little bit better. Some will say, I don't remember. But usually if they just say, I felt like a little bit better, I mean, don't take that as a 100% win. Take that information and be like, well, how can I get it 100% better? What different way do I need to tackle that problem? Did I work on the right stuff? Is it something different area? Like, use your brain and think about it a little bit. Don't just go through the motions of, well, I'm going to do my massage and go through the routine. Like, change it up a little bit.
Yeah, based on what you're feeling, what they're saying, and just listening to what their needs are, right? What do you, so it sounds like, what do you think are the most important things to a therapist as it relates to their work environment, where they choose to go to work and why they choose to stay? What are those things?
Well, number one would be the people, right?
Yeah.
I talked about earlier. But I think number two is, I know John will pay for CEUs for therapists, but them feeling like an environment where they can grow as a therapist is probably, I would say, you could do like a 1A and 1B. It would be like right there neck and neck. Because if they're not feel like they're growing, it doesn't have to be like a financial growth, right? Just the intellectual growth. They're going to get complacent in their job and they're going to be like, I'm just coming into work doing the same thing. So really it's like CEUs or finding like a variety of different things for them to do. To like, if you can't do CEUs, like, hey, maybe buy a couple books, right? There's a great book. I don't know if all schools use it. It's called Trail Guide to the Body. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. They make an ebook version now, but it'll tell you how to palpate every single muscle in the body So like for a therapist, if you're in between sessions or you're bored or you're forgetting something, some therapists are like, we're all so busy nowadays. They don't want to
Yeah.
feel like they're annoying somebody by talking to them. So it's like if you had a digital copy of this book, they could, in their spare time, it'll show them on videos like with people's bodies, like go here, do this, and then like just reminding them, refreshing them of like, hey, you can do this. Like, don't give up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so that continuing education.
Yeah.
Yep, growth is one way or the
Those are
other.
like I think the number one and two things. Like I think if they're always intellectually growing, and then have people around them that support them.
Yeah, because you're going to grow from those other people too, right?
Mhm.
So we have a lot of strategic partners, franchisees, and hopefully their team members that are watching the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think is important for them to hear from you as a massage therapist and from a massage therapist perspective? So any tools that you can give our strategic partners or the retreat directors, operating partners as it relates to recruitment or retention, just a few pieces of advice.
I would say take every opportunity to understand like it's a learning environment, and like I know John in the past, everyone's always afraid of failing and making mistakes, but like I know like when I've talked to Chad, he's like, hey, I've had 10 years to figure all this stuff out. So when he tells us about things, I was like, he tells us about more of his failures and like, well, we tried this, this, and this. So it's okay to make mistakes. Like that's the only way you're going to learn. So when I talk to therapists too, I tell them like, hey, when you talk to people, like, don't be afraid to like feel like, not that you failed in a massage, but like learn from the situation and evolve and like transform yourself. Don't just be like, well, it'll solve itself out. Like, be willing to. I in the past thought Groupon would be terrible, but like we did it and we had, I don't know, I think almost like 500 prospects the other month or something.
Yes.
And it's been like a super huge win for different things. And
Yeah.
I was wrong about something.
Yeah.
I was okay to admit like, hey, I was wrong about something. And
Yep.
I learned, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should trust more from other people. Maybe they're the ones that have all the answers. So I don't have everything figured out. So.
Yeah.
But I would say, it's okay to make mistakes. Communicate with your team. I know John has an open door policy. We use an app called Crew.
Yep.
I think similar to what like Jen and Chad use, and anybody can send John a message at any time of the day. Not that I think people actually probably send him messages, but I think the fact of knowing that they can contact him at any time, if they need to, and he'll be at the retreat and people will walk in and talk to him, and it's usually not anything bad. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here today?
So it sounds like really kind of that openness and sort of the that owner operator is within reach to the team, even if they're not there every single day.
And especially now that he has 3 stores, like it's hard to be, he used to be at our store like 3, 4, 5 times a week. Now it's like 1 or 2, but they all still know like, hey, they can send him a message on Crew anytime.
Yeah.
So when I tell people that in like their first day when they come in for training, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, here's his, I'm going to add you to this app. And if you ever want to send him a message, go ahead. And they're like, do people actually send him messages? And I'm like, I don't know. They're private between him and that person.
But you can if you
they just
need
think
to.
it's weird. It's really funny. We have a lot of therapists that have been with us for a long time. So when we get newer therapists, and I remember every time I go through a training, I'm like, yep, they're probably going to be like confused about different things because they're just not, wherever they work, they were not used to like the openness for different things. They're used to like, I guess, closed boxes and locked doors. And
you guys
like,
have an open door policy.
Yeah, we're like, here's...
We are literally in the touchy-feely business. The majority of our team members are touchy-feely people, really. Like, we're feel-good people, right? And so that's super important to have that openness in the relationships with management and so on and so forth. With you.
Yeah.
With you. For you to have that with your team. So, hey, what are your what modalities are you trained in, and are there any that you would like to learn?
I couldn't name them all.
Give us some impressive ones.
I was trained in a thing called muscle activation techniques. I don't know if a lot of people know what that is. You basically look for weak inhibited muscles and focus on those. So like when you're talking about like I feel the pain here, well, maybe that muscle is tight because something else is weak in the chain. So it's about more problem solving than like, well, I just feel it tight here, so I'm going to focus on this muscle because it feels tight. It's like, that's tight, might need to be worked on, but what are the other corresponding muscles doing in that motion. So like, for instance, if you're having pain, like when you like do a squat motion, right? You're like, I feel it here. Okay, well, that muscle is working, right? I mean, yeah, you feel pain there, but like there's some weakness in the chain somewhere else. So it's more so solving the other problem and going through there.
I need to come see you.
Yeah.
I need to come see you. You might fix this hip problem that I'm having.
It can be quite tender for some people because you have to work the attachment like almost down to the bone.
Yeah.
So,
what other ones? Can you name off a couple other ones that you or tell me one that you'd like to learn? Is there something
one that I would like to learn? Not that I know everything, but I'm actually, talking with Angie in the past. I actually want to. I've never learned lymphatic drainage.
And that's a big one that she does, yeah.
Yeah, we used to work with a girl who did a lymphatic massage. This is like 4 years ago, and I still think about this. She was doing a lymphatic massage on this girl, and she was doing this technique where she was like pumping this lady's stomach. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Wow.
I was so like my brain was like I was like working on my person, but like the whole time I'm like, what is she doing? Yeah. And afterwards, she's like, "Oh yeah, I've taken like 1,000-hour lymphatic drainage course," and I was like, I don't know even what you did. And I was more like intrigued and I still have never learned lymphatic massage. People just say, oh, it's a light massage. It's actually not just like, it's not just light touch. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
What's your timeline? When are you going to do it?
I'll talk to John tomorrow. Like, John, I have a 1,000-hour course I want to take.
It might take some time.
Like,
no.
He'll look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
There's a course in Denver that I went to do. So like the basic MAT stuff that I learned, they have a course in Colorado where you learn it by the people who invented it. Where they go through like master level courses where they go through every single body part and you learn the intricate details on every body part. So that is a course that I've been wanting to do. But you have to fly to Colorado and you go for a whole weekend and come back. But I work primarily on the weekends, so like
what's the name of the course?
What is the name of the course? I get their emails all the time. It's called like muscle activation technique master's course, I think, or something like that. But they go through like fine tuning on like every single body part.
Okay.
That would be like a long-term super like that. That's the one I'm most interested in. The lymphatic one, I was just blown away. So I was like, I should probably learn that because you never know when it's going to be handy.
True. Well, it sounds like you've learned a lot of other things. And you have been elevating the lives of many people for the last 5 years with Massage Heights, based on the skills and techniques that you've learned and brought with you from other organizations and that you've learned, I'm sure, while you've been with Massage Heights as well, and just enhancing your level of expertise. So if you could elevate the day of any one person in any way, who would it be and how would you do it?
It would actually be, I want to talk about Michelle, for instance. Michelle does such a much better job than I do. I get a little bit, because I used to be, like, I went to college initially for accounting. I can get very much wrapped up in the numbers.
And you're talking about Michelle Oktay.
Michelle Oktay, yeah.
And Michelle Oktay is the regional director for your retreats.
She is probably more of a people person than I am. She, working with her, I'll say I learned a lot of like patience when it came to like talking to people and understanding their feelings about situations and stuff. Where it was a little bit more black and white in the past for me. So I learned a lot from Michelle. I don't always tell her that I learned stuff from her all the time.
Shout out from Michelle.
I know, yeah. When the way she interacts with people, I'm like, huh. Sometimes I do think to myself, like, how would Michelle handle this situation?
You need a hashtag for that.
Yeah, hashtag. Yeah, how would Michelle do this?
Yeah. That's great. I'm sure she's going to love to hear that.
Yeah, I've never told her, so.
Oh, well, you're going to tell her now. You're going to tell everybody about it.
Tell everybody.
So, as a massage therapist, are there any specific topics that you would like to see covered on future episodes of this podcast? Or even at conference this year as far as training goes? Or is there anything that you, or one person that you know of in the system that you think you'd like to hear from on the podcast?
On the podcast, I would like to hear from, I believe it's Angela Glenn, who's a regional massage therapist in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. What do you want to know from her? She was here yesterday.
Was she here yesterday?
Yes.
No. So every time I meet her at convention, I don't really get to talk to her too much because, like, we're in groups and different things. But she's been doing it longer than even me, like being in the position that she's in and stuff. And
Yes.
I would just like to know more from her in general. I need to, like, I should have got her. She's on the council. I should have got her number last time I saw her, like when we were in Vegas.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I just want to chat
Send her
with
a
you about
message.
different stuff. Yeah, but I don't have her number.
Yeah,
So.
so you guys, because you guys are in the same role. She's
Yeah, we're in the
overseeing
same role.
multiple
Yeah,
retreats,
yeah.
3, I think, and you're overseeing 3. So
Yeah. I want to see just how
she's
she
gotten to
does
the point
it,
to where
so.
she's no longer doing massage therapy, but it was just very recently. So
Okay.
kind of the same thing, trying to juggle.
Yeah, no, the juggling is hard. Training people, working on your own clients, dealing with other stuff in the retreat combined with all that stuff. I mean,
Yes.
and finding the time of day, because I still do 20 to 25 massages a week on clients.
Yep. She just recently transitioned out, as I recall correctly, but for a while was kind of
I
doing the
wonder
same.
how her clients took it.
Kind of the same thing. I know it's
I think
hard
about
'cause,
that sometimes.
By the way, Sarah, our Sarah
Mm-hmm.
at Stone Oak, she's been with us for 8-9 years, somewhere around that. And so before she was retreat director, she was lead massage therapist. And her clients were not very, very happy. But we did it over a period of time. I mean, they weren't mad. They understood and they were happy for her.
Right.
That she was going to another level of, her.
No, there's some people,
her
like,
career,
I feel like if I were to stop massaging, they'd be like, where did he go?
Yeah.
What is he gonna do?
Well, they do get that way, but
I tell
they
people,
should
like,
be
hey,
happy
I
for you.
trained them how to work on you.
Yes. That's all you can do.
I think the route that I would go down with them, be like, hey.
So what's the next thing for you? What would you like, as far as your career path goes?
I actually like, even though I love people, I like training more than I like doing actual massages. Just because, when you get these new people out of school and stuff, like, school teaches you the basic foundation, how to do like a basic massage. And the consumers want way more than what the school will teach you. So it's more so providing that information towards, like, newer therapists. So, like, we were talking about earlier, they don't burn out in like a couple years where, 6 months in, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's more so because, not that I'm saying that schools taught them wrong, but be like, hey, it doesn't have to be just because someone showed you that you did, however many hours in school, like, there's different approaches to different things. And, like,
Sure.
let's work together, more of a specialized training with that person to be like, hey, let's work on you because,
Create a
like,
more
this is
sustainable-
a career,
Yeah.
like, type of thing. It's not, don't look at it like this is a job, right?
Yep.
It's like, this should be a career change for you. And so
Yep.
that's how I want to go more.
Yeah, train
down.
people on things that are going to help them sustain their career longer.
Yeah, so they
yeah.
can be the 20 years like some of the therapists that we
and really
have,
get the joy out of it that therapists, I think, go into it wanting to provide, get. Like,
Yeah,
to provide,
I think a
so.
lot of therapists want to help people,
yeah.
but then after a few years of them doing either wrong body mechanics or
Start to feel it.
like, hey, this is what you can do for self-care. Like, I'm going to teach you these things so that you don't have to worry about that, that you're falling apart 5 years later type of thing. So,
Well, thank you so much today for being on. I appreciate it, and I hope you had a little fun with it.
yeah.
Yeah, you seem like a natural in front of the camera.
I just showed up. I was like, we'll figure it out.
All right, Massage Heights family, now that you've heard from us, we would love to hear from you. If there are any guests or topics that you would like to hear from or about, please email us at communications@massageheights.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you do not miss any episodes. You don't want to miss the information that we're sharing. Thank you, and as always, elevate the everyday.